Okay, folks, what we're doing here is we're doing a little bit of audio editing here on a track. What I've got here is a piece of music that I wrote some time ago for, for use to sell like on Taxi or Broadjam or something like that for somebody who wants to license some bumper music for TV, radio, whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and start breaking this down so that I can reduce it about, I need to reduce it at about 40 seconds or so. What this is basically just kind of a mid-rock kind of ballady kind of a thing here, and it'll work really good for intro and outro bumpers for videos, and that's what it's going to be used for, particularly right now for videos for our church. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically shortening the A section and B sections of this piece. Because they're pretty long and extended, because they were intended to be able to be utilized to be cut and dissected in this way so that they could be cut down to 30-second spots, or 10-second spots, 15, whatever an engineer wanted to do if they were to like take this piece and use it on some type of a bumper application for whatever. So I've already started working on the beginning of it, and you can see here, well, you probably can't see, but what I've done, I'm working here in Sony Sound Forge, and I love this program. I've used it for many years, and they have some later versions of it that are multi-track. I think that was a big mistake for Sony to do a multi-track version of this, because this is really a mastering software, but a great audio editing software that takes stereo tracks of whatever file type, throw it in there. You've got a bunch of tools to be able to use to cut it up, put fade ins, fade outs, add silence at the beginning. If you want to, you can do all kinds of edit. Then there's a whole a bunch of effects involved in there, tools, there's compression, really nice thing called Wavehammer. That's a really good compressor. And frankly, it's good for that. I mean, you can slow audio down, you can speed it up, keep the pitch proper, even if you're speeding it up. And that's kind of good for doing radio commercials, radio spots and things like that, where you may want a voice to be a little deeper. You can do that. If you want the voice to fit in a time frame, you can do that as well in this software. It's really good software. Most people don't use it to that extent. I've done that in the past, being able to use it for that capability, because we've done audio bumpers where we have a voiceover, where Kit actually does voiceovers, and got it to fit in the intro and outro bumpers, to fit in the particular time frame. So you've got things down to pretty much radio ready for radio broadcast, that kind of thing. So back to this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I've done here. If you can't really see it, I bet you can't see it. Maybe I can zoom in on the screen a little bit here with the camera, and you can see it a little better. Let's see, can I do that? Okay. Well, probably not. But what's happening here is that I've got markers, and I've got 5 markers here, and I've already done the first A-B section of this piece, and kind of like this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and edit to the B section here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and goes back to the A section. Okay, so that's already been shortened. But basically that A and B section that you're listening to was twice as long before. So what I need to do here is I need to do the same thing as I did in this first part of it. I need to do it over here in the second part of this. And I'm going to try to be able to do that so that once I cut a section of this out, basically roughly about a 10-second piece of it out, maybe a little more over, I should be done with the edit. What we're looking for is, what I was asked for was a roughly 1 minute piece total, okay? Because there's a C section in here that I want to keep in there. And then there's a finale section. That finale section is good to be able to cut even individually and use it at the end of an outro bumper type of thing, at the end of a video, or at the end of some type of an oratory audio kind of thing. So again, the goal is to go in between these markers, and basically I need the downbeat of 1 over here, that A section, okay? And what I'm needing is the crash. I need that psh of the cymbal that gives me the downbeat of 1, okay? And it's basically 2 measures. If you're talking 4/4 time, you're talking 2 measures in between each of these. And if I can time this just right, it should sound really good. It should sound seamless. The first section went really well. So let me show you some of the capabilities of this software. Using the scroll wheel here on your mouse scroll wheel, you can expand it out, okay? Expanding out like this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that I've identified my downbeat of 1 in the second A section of the piece. So I'm going to put my cursor a little ahead of it. 1. Okay. So there's my number 1 marker right there. Bam. Okay, and it's going to come back around to bam. 2, 3, 2. Yeah, right. See, so it's 2 measures per marker. All right. So what I need to do is I need to pull out 4 measures and cut this section in half. So what this requires is I'm going to make sure, and I think I already got my number 1 marker in a good spot. Let's see where that is. Yeah. Now another trick to doing this is knowing where to actually put your marker for the downbeat of 1, because you see what I'm able to do here on Sony is I'm able to expand this out. There's my my wave is actually almost a straight line because I've got it stretched so far. I don't really need to stretch it that far. I'll bring it back in so I can still see the peaks, right? And clearly, I can clearly see the peaks. And the real trick is just to find where you want to make that peak. Now, I haven't really been officially or formally trained on doing this, but I'm pretty much using ear, and I've gotten pretty good at it over the years. What I'm going to do is I'm just going, here's where the big punch, probably where the kick drum is, okay? There's the big peak right there, all right? Sony calls these peaks, okay? And I'm sure that there's other terms for it as well, but this is probably the big peak that's caused by the kick drum, the downbeat of 1. But it's good to capture a little bit of what's before that as well, because you can actually miss the snap if you get it at the height of the peak. So I'm going a little bit behind it, and just enough. And again, it's not an exacting science. Now this software is not the latest version. The newer versions of it actually has the ability to identify loops. The only problem I have with that is that I'm not sure I can trust how it identifies a loop section. You can give it how much you want, but is that exactly? So I keep the ear technique going. So let's keep going here. Time is money. Here you go. So, all right. So I've got my marker set for my downbeat of 1 on the A section right here. I think I'm good on that. So let's listen to the second half of the A section. 4, 2, 2, 2, 4. Okay, so let's fix that marker. That one may be a little off. I am going to listen to it. Put my cursor right on it with the mouse, and I'm going to start it. Hit the space bar and start it and see what it sounds like. Okay, that's not bad. That's good. I think I'm going to keep that right there. But number 2 is good. So let's go to number 3. I'm going to go ahead and compress it a little bit so I can find it. Yeah, there's 3. It bounce up to 3 here. And let's spread it out, stretch it now so we can see those peaks. All right, this one looks like I've got it already in a good spot as well, but let's take a listen to it. Put the cursor on it, hit spacebar, and Now, something that seems to be kind of unavoidable is that some of these cues that I'm choosing here, because I want a little bit ahead of the punch peak. Sometimes you get this spike in the audio that sends it clear to the tops, clear into the red on the VUs, and that's because of the initial hit. And I don't think that I haven't got any effects running in this. There's no compression or anything like that, but it's acting as if it's hitting a compressor before it's able to compress the audio. It hits and then it grabs. But I have a way of fixing that as well, and that's something else that we can get into Sony Sound Forge a little later on. But let's try this one to make sure it sounds timing-wise right. Yeah, I'm hitting that kick drum, boom, it's coming in. I can hear it, so it's good. So let's go on to number 4. Okay, let's squeeze it a little bit again here and go to number 4. And I put 5 over here. We're not going to really cut over here, but I put it there so I can kind of identify where the sections are changing, because I'm going to go between 2 and 4 and make my edit to where I'm basically going to eliminate. And I'm going to show you something that's really cool about this software, something that's really good. And I have used it off and on over the years, but now that I'm using the software so much, if Ron and Jerry Rafson are watching this video right now, and when I was up at your Dome Studio in Fairbanks, Alaska a couple of years ago, I wanted to show you this because you were using the same software, and at that time I hadn't gotten that deep into it. So I'll show you this little trick to test your edits before you actually delete sections, so that you can make sure that you've made the deletion in the right time. And if you fail once, or however many times, you just undo it and fix it and keep getting it and doing it until you get it right. But anyway, let's take a look at this number 4. So this will be our last one to check to make sure we're in the right place. Okay, got my cursor on it, it's close to it, so let's take a listen here. I'm gonna go a little before this because this looks like it's in the wrong place. Yeah, it's in the wrong place altogether because I just kind of threw that over there. I didn't really check it. So let's expand it out. If you can see the cursor's close to where it ought to be. Number 4 marker is way over here. I gotta drag that over. So it drags nice and smoothly. There's no latency or anything on the CPU doing this. It's really smooth. Thanks to Sony software, it's really cool stuff here. Now this was, by the way, this was all recorded on, I think I did this a couple of 3-4 years ago, and it was on probably Sonar X1 or X2, probably X2. I'm kind of beyond that now, but just a little background on what I used to record this. And this is all stuff that I play myself on the instruments because I don't have money for session guys. Anyway, let's take a listen to this. I'm going to put my cursor right on the marker line, see where the kick is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And this is cool. And gosh, when you're doing this on PCs, make sure you got an i7 chip in your computer, or minimum i5, but definitely an i7, so it works really snappy. Anything less, and you're gonna be fighting it. All right. Anyway, that's enough commercial there. So it looks like we're good here on number 4, and I think I have a number 5 just to end this. And this is going to take it to I believe to the C section of the song. So there's an A and a B and a C section. That C section is going to be long, but I want to keep that. Yeah. This is a different section here that I want to use to kind of release kind of the tension of the piece. And this is something I can ride easily in the background of some audio, some vocal stuff. And it can be looped. I can cut a section of that out. As a matter of fact, I may do that at some point in time. Just cut a section of that out and be able to loop that so that I can use that for something to lay as a music bed underneath some vocal voiceover type stuff, and kind of stuff that Kit does. All right, so let's get this right, just to have it right, just for the heck of it, because I'm not going to do a cut there. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah. All right, I was very close. I just kind of threw that over there earlier, but I was very close. You know, you do this enough and you get an eye for it, but then you just fine tune it when you get to where you really need to have it. And okay, there's that familiar low peak first, and then that high peak is where the kick hits, right? So I got my marker right on there, so I'm going to put my cursor right on that marker line. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit before that, I think. No? No, that's, yeah, no, that's good. That is actually good. That's good. And this one's not that important, because that downbeat of one is that's all gonna remain. Anything after that, and hopefully after I do this particular edit that I'm gonna do, it'll be enough to give this song this composition what it needs, so that Eduardo can use this for some particular video stuff that he's working on. And when I get with him on this on Sony Vegas, which is, you know, there's a lot of similarities with the audio editing capability in Vegas, not as extensive in Vegas, but very similar to what's in Sony Sound Forge. So when I get it over to his studio and I'm able to get with him, I'll show him how to manipulate the audio. Basically, there's some audio automation inside of Vegas Audio that you can do that's really slick. Really slick. Works a little differently in here because this is a little bit more exacting. Because again, if you're doing some type of a radio commercial with voiceover and music, you've got to have a lot more tools available, and that's inside of this software. All right, we're ready to do this edit now. Enough talking. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 markers that I put up, but the cut is going to be between 2 and 4, and we're going to put those sections after 2 or before 2 and after 4. Those two are going to come together, and if I've done my work properly and put my markers in the right place, it should work, and we'll be able to test it too. And this is the next cool trick you're going to learn from this. This is going to be cool. You're going to like this. All right. So Sony Sound Forge is giving you a tool that allows you to test your edits before you actually execute the edit. Now, executing the edit just means that you hit delete to get rid of a section, and it'll pull everything together when you do that delete. It doesn't delete and leave just the space open to where you have to kind of drag something. It doesn't work that way. This is not like working in a regular DAW. It's a little different. Some of these tools are pretty intuitive in here. Really, really cool. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. I'll move over to my number 2. All right, and I'm going to make sure, when I stretch it out, I make sure that I'm on my marker line with my cursor. Now here's what you can do. Watch this carefully as I get right on top of that line that is for the marker, and I drag, I left click and drag. And you see how that's highlighting that? I left click and drag. Now I don't want to go too far without really seeing where I'm going. I got it too far stretched out to see my number 3, and I want to go past 3, but now I can, yeah, see there's 3 there. All right, so now I can see it a little better. Marker 2, marker 3. I want to take this whole section in between marker 2 and 3, and I want it out, because I'm hopefully going to be able to get what I'm looking for in that. And if it doesn't work, this video is for naught. So okay, I'm close to where I need to be. You see, you can drag that. You know, you can let it go and drag it as you need, and then see, if I expand it out, I can see that I'm not even close to that cursor line. But there I go. I can get right on it, and you can tell when you're on the cursor. You can tell. You can just tell. It's instincts, baby. Instincts. Okay. And let's go over here and test this one as well. Let me get my cursor next to it. Okay, I just screwed up. I lost my line, but that's okay. Nothing fatal. I can do the same thing I did on the other end there. Get my cursor on there, left click, and drag it. Now don't drag too fast. Okay, I'm almost there, so let's see here. Let it go, bring it back in. Okay, I'm in the right spot. Amazing, I'm in the right spot. Let me get my stuff here to see where we're at. Move this over a little bit so I can see. All right, maybe a little bit off, but that's all right. I can move that. Just the hair. All right, we're good. Now, here's a neat trick. Built into this software, you have a function of being able to literally demo this edit by being able to have the software start just a second or about a second ahead of the area you want to edit, this area that I've got highlighted, and it will play past that and immediately go over to the section where you want to come together with this side. So what you do there is you hit the Control key and hit the letter K. Control K, and presto. Ha! Listen to that. Listen to that. Okay, let me turn this up a little bit so you can hear it. Make sure you're hearing this. Control K, and it's starting about a second and a half or 2 seconds before the edit, and then it ends about that much into after the edit section. So watch. Control K again, and it's good. It's as good. Okay, so I've demoed now. I've auditioned my edit. Now it's time to delete that section, and you simply hit delete. Now, if there's a problem, I can undelete this, but this is good. I think I'm good here. I think this is going to work because I was able to audition it before I deleted that section. So let's take a listen first before we save this. I'm going to go ahead of my number one, just about the same distance as the audition of the edit, so let's take a look, listen to this, see if it worked out right. A section here. Okay, 2 pieces of A section. B. 4, 2. Okay. This is excellent. This is excellent. I think this is what I was looking for. Perfection. Okay, so let's look at this now. Now that I've deleted that section there, let's take a listen to see where we're at. And look at that. Remember, I did an edit. I did the same edit in the beginning, the first A-B section. Now we've done this edit in the second A-B section, and we're able to go right to that C section in 4 bars instead of 8, which I had before. And look at where I'm at. I'm the last hit. Basically, the fade starts right at 1:10. And that's okay. That's a good spot. That's actually a good spot. I don't need to go any farther than that. If I can go a little farther than that, and I may think about that. Because I only wanted to take 10 seconds out. Okay, here's 1:10. Bam. Bam. Woo. Okay. That's it. I mean, this software, and I'm just using it totally minimalistic now. This is really simple stuff. This software can do a lot more stuff. And yeah, I know that, like I said, the later versions of this, it does a lot more than it really needs to. Frankly, if you need multi-tracks, you go into your DAW and use your DAW. You don't need Sony Sound Forge for that. But they just wanted to make sure people were still wanting to sell this. The good thing about this software is that it is good for the particular purpose of editing audio, vocal, or music, anything. You can do good edit stuff in there. I mean, it's not as strong of a mastering. And when you say mastering, there's mastering and there's mastering, and mastering happens. The real mastering happens in the real mastering houses. I have nowhere. This is my B studio here. This is a studio that I usually edit video in. I just didn't feel like doing this on my big DIW machine, my big DAW machine. This is a little more comfortable, discreet, quick, and I think I have a good. I did some good work here today. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this and keep those. So I'm not backing out of any of this. No undos. Now that's it. It's done. There we go. So it saves, brings my peaks back. We're good. And if I want to do some more to this, I will. But right now, it sounds pretty good. But that's Sony Sound Forge. And believe it or not, this is Sony Sound Forge 8. They've been trying to get me to buy later versions of Sound Forge and for a couple of years now. I don't need it. I love this program. It still works, and it's working in Windows 10 just fine, flawlessly, except for a few things, minor things, but that I don't really need. But everything else works really fine in here. It has the MP3 plugin is in there, which you needed earlier on. Now you don't really need that anymore, I guess. And I do have some later versions of this, but it's not the pro version like this. So there's some tools that don't work. That editing tool is in the higher versions. It's Sony Audio Studio is what it's called. And it comes bundled with some of the Vegas software that I buy. I don't usually use that unless I just got to throw something in. I'm not really trying to fine tune it too much. It's good to have it if you need it, but I use the regular Sound Forge 8, and this is what I do. This is what we do. Thanks for watching. This is fun.